Hello viewers, welcome to our program on immigration and you. I'm your immigration attorney Michael Fulwani, and once again we have with us attorney David Nachman. Mr. Nachman, welcome.
Thanks, Michael.
Now, as you guys can see, we are back. We are back from our trip to India, and we had a wonderful time. I'm sure David will tell you a few more interesting things, especially with regard to the traffic and how the cows and the people and the bicycles and the rickshaws and the cars and the trucks and the camels, everything is on the street. But let's wait for a second for that. Basically, we had a very good trip. Both David and me were able to meet the American consular officials in Chennai. That's where we started the trip. Then we went to Mumbai. We met some people, our Bollywood people also, clients and all that. And then we went to New Delhi and meet the consular officers and senior people in the American Embassy in New Delhi, as well as the immigration office there. There's an overseas immigration office in New Delhi that processes your case like waivers and all that. And then we came back again to Mumbai and had a meeting with the American consuls in Mumbai, the new building now, which is located in Bandra, Bombay. Actually, even for me, it was the first time since they had moved just a few months ago only. We had occasion to visit all these posts, talk to the consul officer, very valuable information, and we can talk a little bit about that because people want to know what news you have from India on our side. So one of the important things that is there now is waiver of the visa interview. Now, waiver of the visa interview, let me tell you that even in the past there was a limited waiver in the sense that people that had, for example, 10-year multiple visa and they wanted to renew it, the consuls could waive that interview, but they had to go for biometrics. So that effort was there anyway, so it was not much relief because people said, can we do by mail, send a passport and get a new stamp. This one, the new policy, which went into effect only a few days ago, says that if a person has a visitor visa, and there are a couple of other visas, I remember J1 exchange visitor, H4, L2, some of these types of visa, crew, C and D visas, they could renew their visas without coming to the consulate if the consulate will give them a waiver. In other words, they have to go online, put all the information and get the appointment, and at that point the consul will tell them there's no need to come or to come. But they have to apply definitely online, and then when they apply, the consul will make their decision.
Right. I think it's important to point out to our viewers, Michael, that each consulate is handling the policy with regard to this program in a different way.
Correct.
So New Delhi announced on their website the way they were going to be handling it, and that is specifically with regard to visitor visas, and Chennai's handling it differently, and so is Mumbai. So it really depends upon which type of visa that the individual is applying for.
I think this is coming from, as far as we know, from the Department of State. They want to reduce the number of people that have to go to the consulate. I'll give you a little background on that. See, before 2008, there was no biometrics, fingerprints and photos, and the visa photo was there, but a lot of humshakal people would come, and then started biometrics. That after 2008, the person goes to the consulate and then gives the fingerprints, the photos, and everything is in that visa stamp that is in the passport. And when the people come at the airport, they have to, put that on the screen, and they make sure that this is the same person that is coming in. So this big change place in 2008. But they still continued the people to come and do another set of fingerprints each time. Because we do a lot of Bollywood cases, and I know that every time if somebody comes for a shooting or performance, they have to go to the consulate and fingerprint and also photos. And we keep on saying, what's the need? You just did it 1 month ago, but they say that is the policy. Unfortunately, there's no change on that yet, but at least there's a beginning, and if they see that's working and it's good enough. In other words, what they are saying now, last time, we took the fingerprints and photos, and there's not major change in that. If there appears to be some change, then they'll call the person for interview. If there no appears to be change, what's the point? So just submit your passport, pay the fees, and get a new stamp, which is a very good, I think, change because a lot of people were inconvenienced. Not only I'm saying about the people, even for the American consuls, their workload. Now all those people don't have to go. A lot of people, thousands of people now don't have to go to the consul, get appointments, get in line, waste the time of consular officers. So win-win situation for all, for the government, for the people, for us.
Exactly. Well, Michael, I think that there are two really important things that we need to point out to our viewers. One is the history behind this whole, first of all, it's a pilot program. That's number one. The pilot program means that after a certain amount of time, what they're going to do is they're going to go back and analyze it and see whether it was a good policy.
And they may expand that also.
They may extend it and
expand also.
Expand, of course, and extend. So that's something that will happen after they analyze what the value is of the pilot program. The other thing we should point out to our viewers is that going back historically, really what they're doing is they're going back to the old policy that existed pre-2001, which is when you didn't need to go for an interview every single time.
Exactly.
It was only after 2001 that the Department of State implemented that everybody had to go for an interview. No one could come without an interview. But there were interview waivers in very, very limited cases. So there were exceptions. But basically what they're doing now is they're going back to that and saying, okay, we're going to have some exceptions, and these are the parameters of the exceptions. So our viewers need to know that they should go to the websites, check the websites for the various consulates, or to call your immigration professionals and find out what the parameters are when waivers will be allowed.
Let me also mention that those people who got their visas stamped before 2008, they still have to go because their fingerprints is not in that place. So they are saying, oh, those people cannot come. But those people who got the visa after 2008, when all the 10 fingerprints were done and the photos were done, those people, they think no need. I mean, with all the improvements in the technology and everything in place, there's less likelihood of people being able to come in. I mean, we see a lot of people from before those times. They came and asked them, how did you come to US? Somebody will say without a visa, somebody will say hum shakal. Now what a hum shakal means, David and our people know, look alike. Because they had the same looking like a photo, so they were able to come. There were some photo substitutions also, very fine, way of removing the old somebody else's photo, putting a new photo. All those things used to happen, and no longer now. So once they see these things, that technology and their efforts are working, no need to really still continue a very conservative approach. And this is good news, I would say that. Yes.
Absolutely. And absolutely, Michael. I think that this is good news. And just again for our viewers, if you take a look on the websites, you'll see that if you've ever had any criminal activity, either in the United States or elsewhere, or you have had immigration problems, or if you're on a no-fly list, things like that, then of course you're precluded from taking advantage of this waiver application.
Yeah, remember our viewers watch our CBP interview with the Customs Border Protection officials. Unfortunately, during that very time, I think one of the big film actors, I think Mr. Khan, came in, and again, second time he was detained for a couple of hours. But there is a way out, as you said. It is possible. Those kind of people who frequently get detained in the secondary inspection have a process. We have a process. We may be able to help those people if they contact us to get the name removed
from the no-fly list. Exactly.
List.
And right, there is a very specific procedure where certain documents are submitted directly to the various agencies to have their name taken off that no-fly list.
Now, we have a lot to talk about the India trip, but I want to bring something which is very current. We must talk in this program, is the cutoff dates for May 2012, and very quickly let us go over. Here is the position for the month of May 2012. The family first preference, which is for the unmarried sons and daughters of US citizens, advances by 4 weeks to May 1, 2005. The 2A category, which is for the spouses and unmarried children of green card holders who are under the age of 21, advances by 5 weeks to November 15, 2009. Family 2B category, which is the unmarried sons and daughters over the age of 21 of green card holders, advances by 5 weeks to February 22nd, 2004. The family third preference, which are the married sons and daughters of U.S. citizens, advanced by 3 weeks to March 8, 2002. And the fourth preference, which are the brothers and sisters of U.S. citizens, advanced by 3 weeks to December 1, 2000. In the employment preference categories, the first preference current for all the countries, which has always been current and hopefully likely to remain current for some more period of time at least. The second preference, advanced degree holders for most of the countries except India are current. Unfortunately for India, it goes back, retrogresses by 2 years and 8 months and 2 weeks to August 15, 2007.
That's right. And that was something that had come up in the Department of State visa bulletin, so we sort of knew that that was coming
Exactly.
down the
I mean,
pipe.
once I finish that, I think you have some important thing to talk about EB2 category. The employment third preference, which is for the professional and skilled workers, for most of the countries, it advances by 3 weeks to May 1, 2006. But for India, it advances by 1 week only to September 8, 2002. The other workers, EW category, what we call, also advances 3 weeks for most of the country to May 1, 2006, and 1 week for India to September 8, 2002. So basically, third preference and EW are on the same level. The fourth preference is special migrants, religious workers, current for all the countries. And EB5, the investors for $1 million, $500,000 are current for most of the countries. Now there's a little piece about EB2 that David wants to talk about. It's very, very important. Listen carefully.
Right, and I'm sorry, Michael, I was interjecting it before because I thought that that was a good place for it. But basically what everyone needs to know is that as of April 11th, the U.S. Department of State announced that there were no more visas available for mainland China and for India.
Let's
in
talk
the
about,
EB2
I think prior to this, in May, the cutoff dates for EB2 were somewhere close to 2009 or 10, something like that.
Correct.
So that's where some people filed adjustment of status applications.
Correct.
Some people did not.
So the
Let's
U.S.
talk about
Department of State essentially will be receipting in those applications, as they did many years ago when we had the same issues. They'll be receipting in the applications and hopefully, although they've said that they will, and we haven't seen it yet, but granting employment authorization
So we are
documents
still in
and
the month
travel
of
documents.
April, right?
Correct, correct. Granting employment authorization documents and travel documents to those individuals, notwithstanding the fact that those cases have been retrogressed.
Now, what's the reason? Now, people are going to ask, what happened? What happened? 2 years, 3 years been back. What's the reason?
Well, there's a certain amount of visas that are allocated to the visa classifications, and when all of those visas are used up, then of course what they have to do is put a fix in place, which is what we call retrogression, and that's why the dates.
See, normally what happens month to month, like in April is over, then you start from May. But I think this came in the middle of April, and I forgot the date on which this.
April 11th.
April 11th. Yeah. So is that like people that could have filed before April 11th, those are okay, but they couldn't file after April 11th, or they could still file in April 11th?
Well, my understanding is that the cutoff occurred as of April 11th, but the government will still receipt in documents that are received after that date. Grant the employment authorization and travel documents if the individual is worthy of receiving those documents.
And if somebody has an I-140 approved or a concurrent filing, and the labor certificate, according to the labor certification, the priority date is still okay as per the visa bulletin. That all those things have to be seen in.
Correct.
Right?
Absolutely.
Okay, just got about a minute left. Just tell me something about India. First time, David, first time you went there, you never thought what India is going to be like.
Yes, I had no idea what India was going to be like. I've been representing, and you and I have talked about this quite a bit, Michael. I've been representing Indian clients for 22 years. And I have never had an opportunity to travel to India. I've heard stories. I think that probably the most spectacular part of India is that it is endowed with a very interesting psychic energy. that exists there, spiritual energy that you really can't describe. I think that probably the place where I felt it the most was when I landed in New Delhi and I'm walking around the airport and I saw all the people who were going to their various religious ceremonies and headed out to their various religious groups. It's just an incredible place, an incredible experience that I would recommend to anyone who's never been there.
Well, we went to a lot of places. We went to Chennai, Mumbai, New Delhi, Jaipur, Agra, and a lot of experience, a lot of things to talk about, not only about the trip part, but about our meetings with the American consuls, all the important information we got them about people getting stuck on H4s and L2s and all those issues. We don't have time today, we are running out of the time. But please don't forget to watch us again next week, and we will try to bring some more and more information to you, our Bombay trip and many other important things. We have a lot of things to talk about, but again, as I said, we are running out of time, and we will be back with all that latest information. Thank you very much for watching the program, and thank you, David, and goodbye.